Okay, let's keep this thing going. This next performer I've worked with many times. She runs the storytelling show at Kaplansky's, the smoked meat place that's across the street. There's a show this Sunday. I always love to work with her and do the storytelling thing, which is here tonight to show us how that's done. Please welcome to the stage, Marillo X.
I'm very short. Hello everyone, this story is called Three Things in Moscow. It's 1989. I am 19 years old. I'm in Moscow and three extraordinary things are about to happen to me. I'm rehearsing Murder in the Cathedral with the National Youth Theatre of Great Britain. 30 young actors and technicians between the ages of 14 and 20 have been handpicked for this prestigious cultural exchange with the Moscow Arts Theatre. Glasnost is in full swing, and we are given unprecedented access to the Kremlin on our welcome tour. We can't go in Lenin's mausoleum, unfortunately, because 2 days before our arrival, the former glorious leader's ear fell off, and they've closed the museum to stick him back together. We're staying in the Rossiya Hotel in Red Square. There's over 600 rooms. It's the biggest hotel in the world. Late at night, in the corridors, we see mice running along the skirting boards. And very early in the mornings, gigantic Russian women appear and plug huge vacuum hoses into the walls. And we feel like we're in the movie Brazil. The elevators don't stop at the 13th floor because that's where the KGB live. On our first day off from rehearsals, we are bussed to Arbat Street. This is the place where the poets and the painters and the public speakers hang out. I'm deciding whether or not to buy a tiny Russian Orthodox triptych when I see my friend Chloe being frog marched towards me by a rather large middle-aged gentleman I don't recognize. As Chloe gets closer, I can see that she's crying, and as she passes me, she croaks, "Rill, I'm being arrested. Come with me." I can't see any of our friends anywhere, so I follow. We go down a side street and into a squat, ugly building. The plainclothes police officer motions for us to sit at a table while he talks to a man at the next table. "What the fuck were you doing?" "I was changing money." "You fucking idiot, that is the one thing we were told specifically not to do." "I know, but I saw a painting I liked and I didn't have enough rubles." "Well, that's just bloody marvellous, isn't it? Now we're going to end up in Siberia." Chloe starts crying again. The man at the next table turns to us and says in rather halting English, "In Moscow, no change money on the street is illegal." The police officer behind him is nodding vigorously. I look at Chloe. I think we're off the hook. Give them cigarettes. Chloe and I are packing Marlboro because we've been told that under certain circumstances, they're much more useful than cash. Chloe offers her packet to the police officer, who takes them willingly with a giant grin on his face. I offer mine to the man at the table, who shakes his head, puts his hands behind him and says, No, I am a criminal." He's the only one in the police station who speaks English. "You go now." "Yes, I mean spasiba. Da svidaniya." Chloe and I run all the way back to Arbat Street and get straight back on the tour bus. We do not tell anyone about our adventure for 3 straight days. At the age of 19, I've only thus far managed to sleep with a girl. So when Jimmy B starts flirting with me in rehearsals, I decide, ha-ha, it's time for boy sex. Jimmy has a girlfriend back in London, but is clearly invoking the doesn't count on location rule, beloved by so many actors and musicians worldwide. When things get hot and heavy one night at a party, we decide to take things upstairs. Jimmy's roommate is asleep in the next bed as we tear each other's clothes off. At least we hope he's asleep. Actually, by this point, I don't give a flying fuck. I'm just terribly excited to get a penis in my vagina. Jimmy, on the other hand, has other ideas. Apparently he still feels some sense of loyalty towards his girl back home and only wants to do bum sex, because apparently it doesn't count as much. Try telling my bum that the next day. Finally, first night arrives and we are beyond excited because our patron, Prince Edward, is being flown in under a media blackout. You have to understand, these were the days before the internets, when famous people could actually get shit done without the world and its mother live tweeting their every sodding move. We receive a standing O for our performance, naturally, and after a brief reception at the theatre for the benefit of the local dignitaries, we are bussed back to the Rossilla for a giant first night party with live entertainment, which turns out to be the Rossilla house band playing terrible covers of Eurotrash, dressed in pantsuits directly from the disco era. But bear in mind, we are theatre kids. We are hysterical with glee, even before the Prince arrives. When he finally gets to the hotel, Prince Edward is accompanied by only 2 bodyguards, which means for once in his weird-ass life, he can actually behave like a normal guy and just hang out with some kids who are roughly the same age as he is. He sits at a table. We scramble for spots. I'm not quite quick enough, and I end up kind of hovering behind my friend Kerry. The Prince sees that there isn't a place for me, and he gestures to the arm of his chair. I sit my bony ass down and take a giant gulp of cheap Russian champagne. The booze flows and our stilted formal conversations with the Prince become more animated. We start asking impertinent questions. Sir, where'd you get your jacket from, sir? Although he's in his very early 20s, Prince Edward is dressing like a 50-year-old. Well, I don't get to choose my clothes, they just sort of magically appear. Sir, do you ever get to do anything you want to do, sir? Well, yes, like tonight, hanging out with you guys. I see my opportunity. Sir, do you dance, sir? The room goes silent. The artistic director of the National Youth Theatre of Great Britain is shaking his head vigorously at me, but I have 3 glasses of cheap Russian champagne in me. I am asking this guy to dance. Prince turns, looks me straight in the eye. Our noses are less than 6 inches apart. Are you asking? Everyone holds their breath. I'm asking. The artistic director face palms. Well, says the man who at this point was 3rd in line to the British throne, I'm dancing. The room goes crazy. Kids are screaming and shouting and banging on tables. The band strikes up Dancing Queen. If you knew the rumours about Prince Edward, that would be even funnier. The Prince and I walk to the middle of the dance floor. For some reason, we adopt a ballroom pose. It's incredibly awkward. I can't think of anything to say except, you dance divinely. The Prince smiles, says nothing, and I'm beginning to regret my act of Dutch courage when I'm rescued by Abby Cohen, who elbows me out of the way and yells, "Is this a ladies' excuse me?" After which every single female member and 3 of the boys line up to dance with a member of the royal family. In Moscow, in 1989, I escaped from a Russian jail. I almost lost my virginity, and I asked a prince to dance. It was a pretty fucking sweet March break.